Okay, so today we're going to learn how to classify polynomials. So before we do that, I have a quick do now. I want you to identify the parts of the expression below. So looking at this expression, we have the 2, we have the x, we have that little 3 on top, and the positive 4. So I want you to take a second to try to identify the names of these parts. And then I want you to answer how many terms are written in the expression above. Alright, so looking at the do now, the 2 is our coefficient, or the number in front of the variable. The x is our variable or letter, and that's used to represent a value of some sort, usually a number. That little 3 that's raised up as a superscript is our exponent or our power. And the plus 4 is a constant. It's a number that stands alone. And how many terms are there in the expression above? There are 2 terms. The first is the 2x cubed, and then the other term is that positive 4. All right? So then we have a definition. So we need to first know what a polynomial is before we get started on classifying the different polynomials that we have. So what is a polynomial? So a polynomial is 2 or more terms combined by addition or subtraction. And now when we have polynomials, we always want to write them in what we call standard form. So what standard form is writing an expression from the highest to the lowest exponent. So if we're writing from the highest to the lowest exponent, we're always going to have the coefficient with the highest exponent has a special name, and that's going to be called the leading coefficient. So the coefficient with the highest exponent is going to be called our leading coefficient. So if we look at this example down at the bottom, we have 4 minus 2x to the 5th. So the first thing that we want to do always is write this in standard form. So that means we need to rewrite it so that the highest exponent comes first. So first we're going to look. This here has a term of a 4 and a term as a negative 2x to the 5th. So I just need to rewrite these so that the negative 2x to the 5th comes first. And then there's no sign in front of that 4, so that tells me that it is a positive 4. So that there is written in standard form. The higher exponent comes first, then the lowest. So then after we write it in standard form, I want you to identify the leading coefficient. So my leading coefficient is the coefficient or the number in front of the one with the highest variable, the highest exponent. So here x to the 5th is the highest exponent. So my leading coefficient here would be that negative 2. So negative 2 would be my leading coefficient. So then what I want you to do here is I want you to rewrite each of these in standard form. Tell me how many terms there are and identify the leading coefficient. So here I have 4 plus 8x. So here I have my 4 and my 8x, which already tells me my number of terms is 2. So I need to write them in standard form. So the one with the higher exponent is 8x. And then I have a positive 4 there. And my leading coefficient here, well, this one has the highest exponent. The number in front is an 8. So let's try the next one. So here I have the 2, and I have the negative 3x to the 4th power. So we need to rewrite this so the highest exponent's first. My highest exponent here is the x to the 4th, so I have my negative 3x to the 4th. Then I have my positive 2. Number of terms, I had 2 different terms that I needed to put into order. Then my highest exponent is a 4. The leading coefficient then is the negative 3. Let's look at one more example. So here I have the 3x squared. I have the negative x squared. I have the positive 2 and the negative x. And I'm sorry, I apologize. There's a typo here. This should be a 3. So that should be 3x cubed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rewrite them from highest exponent to lowest exponent. Well, my highest exponent is that 3 there, so I'm going to keep the 3x cubed first. Then the next highest exponent is that squared, so I have the minus x squared next. The next highest is my 9 minus x. And then lastly, I have my constant of a positive 2. So how many terms or numbers did I have to put in order here? So the terms was 1, 2, 3, 4. So there were 4 terms. And my leading coefficient, well, my number with the highest exponent, there's my 3 is my highest exponent, and the coefficient there is a 3. So what I want you to do now is pause this video and try to put all of the rest in standard form and write the number of terms and leading coefficient for each. All right, so I want you to take a look at these answers. So the first one that you had to do on your own was a little bit tricky. You ordered it into highest to lowest exponent. Then when you realized there were 3 terms, you had to find the leading coefficient. And what's that invisible number in front of that x squared there? It was a 1. So then as you went on, you made sure they were each in standard form, identified the number of terms, and the leading coefficient is in each. When you got down to the last 2, they were already written in standard form. So you just rewrote them exactly the same way, figured out the number of terms, and the leading coefficient for each of them. If you have any questions, please comment them on the video.